Welcome to Season 2 of The Aggregate, narrative coatings from around the globe. It's a broadcast that hails a treasured community of designers, architects, artists, and builders from around our world who refuse to ration their plaster passion. Amid a world of static and chaotic emotions, the show honors victories won and lessons learned. It tells the true tales rarely depicted on social media. With a neutral mind, these connective moments provide hiatus from the everyday hustle and bustle and offer a platform to recharge with our attention focused on shared skills and time-honored knowledge, ultimately curating continued creativity in everyday life. So take a second breath as New Age artisans coats the planet and changes the standards of what it means to educate, empower, and create. I'm your host, Jeremy Mistretta, along with my man on the switches, Vincent Ryan, and welcome to our show. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Aggregate Season 2, Episode 23. Thanks for listening in on last week's episode with our very esteemed guests, Mr. Sam Johnson, Padraig Gould, Manu Narendran, Ismail Barda, Yassin Ben Haddou, and Mustapha Daghni. We traditionally record in a very controlled environment, safe in the comfort of our warehouse with every amenity imaginable at our fingertips. We have modern microphones, acoustic plaster, buffered computer programs, and lightning-fast Wi-Fi speeds. When I first arrived here in Igles, Morocco, almost 2 weeks ago, I have to admit that I was secretly thinking that we would bring our first world technology and enlighten the lives of those in this developing country. And to a very small degree, this happened. Some of our tools have been used during the plastering process, yet the majority have not. I think I could speak for our eclectic group when I surmise that necessity has become the mother of invention on this ride. For years, we looked from afar, noting the beautiful organic shapes and colors that carve the Moroccan culture. And it was unavoidable to ponder what could actually be achieved with contemporary tools. And after a humbling 14 days of immersion, I am here to attest that the almighty definition of wealth is multifaceted. It isn't nice clothing, a new car, or a bag full of shiny tools. I think it's a mindset, a genetic mental narrative that prevails amongst this beautiful village and its special inhabitants. Human beings have the innate ability to assimilate to their surroundings. As we wind down this trip and begin to postulate what life will look like upon return, I thought it pertinent not to send our rustic recording to the AI lab, as it offered but a mere glimpse into the effort and sheer determination that occurs throughout the village of Igles. And so that the listener could tune into the feeling, the pulse, and the energy that's been created and exchanged amidst a potentially perceived as challenged rural village. And I sit proudly today. I'm proud of not only the premise and the purpose of the plaster, but more importantly, I'm proud of the people that made this possible against many odds. I'm proud of my friends Chloe Erickson, Susie Dokken, Pennsylvania's Gabriel Franklin, Canada's Joey DiVenosa, England's William Gacius, Brazil's Doug Muniz de Vargas, and I'm proud of last week and this week's returning guests, India's Manu Narendran, Santa Fe's Sam Johnson, Montana's Padraig Gould, Morocco's Ismail Barda, Yassin Ben Haddou, and Mustapha Daghni. Welcome back, friends. How's everyone doing?
Thanks.
Doing very well.
Yeah, great.
You guys are so far away from me this time. We're kind of switched it up a little bit of an echo in the last place. So we're in a kind of an undetermined location, and it's quite comfortable in here. I like it. Tail end of the project. A hell of a couple weeks. I'm definitely not lying. I think the past 14 days have changed my life for the better. It's been a monumental effort, both physically and emotionally, for all the participants. Amidst a world that seems to be driven by financial leverage, trade wars, religious strife, a group of 20 or so individuals chose to think outside the box and save what many would consider doomed. And I think the savings isn't just the mosque. I think the structure itself is but an outward testament to the fruits of our labor. The real reward is the relationships forged, the shifting mindset that with love, determination, and ingenuity, the impossible can and will become a tangible and salvageable story. So thank you to all of you for being beautiful subjects and content in our creation. When we last spoke, the columns have been shaped with earthen mix of clay, straw, and sand. The sand was harvested from the riverbed and transported by a local donkey. The clay was excavated from just outside the front door, and the straw came from the livestock supply sheds around the rural village. These natural ingredients, combined with our years of experience, some leadership, and our mechanical human efforts, coated the Spalding walls and clung to the rocky piers. Ishmael, sir.
Hello.
Hello. What did you think when we began to coat the cobble-stacked piers?
So, hello again. Hello, Jeremy. Hello, friends. At the very beginning, it was like a late start. I thought we won't finish everything in 2 weeks because we had to do some dirt plaster before Padraig. And then with the great work you guys have been doing with the help of Yassin and Mustapha, things went great and quickly, and the project now, the mosque, looks so amazing and so beautiful, well restored.
Yassin and Mustapha, what did you guys think when we started mixing up dirt and clay and sand and straw?
المهم حيت ما كناش عارفين زعما كيفاش كيخدموا هما. المهم اللي خدموا راه المهم تعاوننا وداكشي راه داز بخير وعلى خير. داكشي حنا اللي بغينا.
Yassin or Mustafa said at the very beginning they didn't know that you are good and a good hard workers and experts of Padraig. He didn't expect the skills and professionalism of Padraig, and he said things went well. Alhamdulillah, thanks God.
في الاتحاد قوة جمعنا احنا بجوج باش كنا احنا بجوج تمشيو زعما دقة ثاني كثيرين زعما نضربوا شويه نيت زعما تنخدموا كيفاش زادوا هما زدنا اتحدنا مزيان والتقسيم ديال المهام وداكشي زاد خلانا نزربوا على داكشي.
Yassin is saying it's teamwork, and he said their professionalism and yours together made work wonderful, and it happened quickly.
Sam, sir, what was it like for you? Initially we started right out of the gate. There was a lot of back and forth, and we decided we were going to throw some gypsum into the earthen mix. Why do you think it didn't work?
Well, the initial day was, I think, a really good purging almost that we had to go through as we entered into a new space. We weren't exactly sure how much we can offer versus also respecting ways that we might not even be aware of. And so there was this kind of trial and error moment where we were told something. Mustapha and Yessin still weren't on the scene yet, so we were kind of trusting some local knowledge. And, I think coming from kind of our backgrounds and our way of doing things, it might have felt internally a little bit jarring to throw in things like gypsum into our earth plaster or concrete over the earth as our substrate. These moves were kind of jarring and a little bit like, whoa, is this really what's going on? Does this make sense? Should we say something, or should we step back and just allow this because maybe there's something we don't understand? And so it was a really good moment of kind of trusting, but eventually having to kind of find your line and push back and have a nice conversation. And it was really great that Gabe stepped up to kind of the plate as our kind of spokesman and took Yassin and the craftsmen aside, kind of shared our views because we kind of had our own little discussion going on as our own group. And then he kind of transmitted that, came back to us, went back to them. It was actually a beautiful moment of kind of making mistakes, talking it out. And by the end of the day, we scraped everything off. And it was like exactly what needed to happen. Yep. And then Yassin and Mustapha got on the scene. We hashed things out. And the next day we just started cooking. And because we had it dialed. And it was nice kind of organically finding leadership, structure, who's in charge, and how do we respect and move forward efficiently. It was actually a beautiful day.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. You kind of have to like take a step or two backwards before you can take many steps forward. It's kind of how I looked at it. Manu, how did you feel when Yessin started to coat the columns and the pillars with cement? And why do you think, from your perspective, that cement was a poor choice in that application?
Yeah, I mean, if I have to go back to those moments when I saw cement and sand being mixed, ready to be plastered on the column, I was in like, probably I'm not going to touch it. But as the work progressed, I was like, okay, if this is what it is, let's do it. And in between, I was checking in with everyone, like, do you think this is the right way? Because all the stone or the cobble work was done with a lot of mud plaster or mud mortar. And I think we did discuss it multiple times with, like, sometimes individually, sometimes as a group. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, having those discussions, as Sam just explained, the process, the leadership thing, and, checking with the locals, checking with the team, checking with each one of us, and then transmitting that and coming back and saying, okay, we are going to scrape it down and going towards a fully dirt mix, a mud plaster kind of a thing, a straw clay plaster. I think that was the sweetest thing. And I think that interaction was much needed because it also opened up the conversation, I would not call it tension, but it was more like, when you're still opening up, still warming up to the people and you're not sure whether to say something or hold back till the moment arrives. I think that first day led us to that. Yeah. And it was instant. Like by evening, we were sure that yes, we are not doing this. And we were all pretty happy, including them. It was really an amazing thing.
Everybody clicked at that moment. And I was just very proud of Gabe he just took one step forward and just said, here's what I think. And we all just, okay, great, let's go. And he just went for it. It was amazing. Padraig, as in that moment you were ready to work. How did it feel to you to have an entire day's work kind of go to the wayside?
I did not care. I was really happy to mix mud, and I'd never done that before, so I was delighted to mix it up with my hands and my feet and just put it on the wall. So all's well that ends well. Yeah.
Yassin and Mustapha, what did you think about the earthen mix? Yassin, you seem to enjoy it quite a bit, getting his hands dirty.
واش عجبتكم؟ قال لك راه بنتو ليا
عجبتنا. هي تخليطها زينة هي مزيانة الطريقة خلطنا راه مزيانة هي مني خدمت لينا مني تمشي الخدمة راه مزيانة.
Yassin is saying he liked it. He said it was a good mix, and he said it's good we try different things, and you found the right mix and start working and using it. And yeah, straw and dirt and sand and other materials for the plaster, dirt plaster.
All the materials from right outside the door, which was great. After we did the first column and it worked and it shaped beautifully, my only concern at that moment was drying. Not so much drying, but like maybe curing could be the word. I wanted to make sure that it had the right amount of cure time based on the limited amount of days that we had. I was concerned that maybe we weren't going to get that amount of mud spread in enough time and it wasn't going to cure. Did anyone else have any concerns at all?
Honestly, once we moved to the earth mix, I felt it was like just the perfect thing we could have done. Like as you looked around at the structure and you see that it was all built out with the earth mix, it just made total sense to me. And so, yeah, other than the dry time, which was kind of an unknown for me because I don't really know what was coming with the Tadillac mix. I knew it was going to take a little while for it to dry, but it felt so right. And it was nice that we kind of picked our battles as we kind of talked with Yessin and Mustapha of like, what's the level that we need to get these surfaces to before? So like, yeah, what's our expectation? What can we get away with? So then we started only knocking out the major cracks and kind of leaving stuff that in some ways, maybe we look at it and we're like, oh my gosh, how can we Tadillac over this? But that was kind of a trust that we had with Yassin and Mustapha is like, if they're saying this, there's stuff we don't know that's coming and let's just go with that. And so, I don't know, for me, it felt right that we were using the earth as the substrate. That felt so right. And I kind of just trusted that they know what's coming.
Yeah, totally. It was definitely I've done like some straw bale repairs and stuff. We sit and spread natural lime plaster on the walls all day long. But that was definitely the most amount of time I've ever had my hands in earth and plaster. And I'm not going to lie. I was like, this is pretty awesome. I'm into it. I feel really good. My hands are sitting here shaping, they're mixing, they're coating these columns, they're coating these walls. Like it just, at the end of the day, not to sound cliched, like I felt quite grounded. I really did. And Gabe just kind of looked at me and gave his little smart wink, like, look who's doing it. And it was awesome. It just seemed to go like so efficiently after that. And the columns we started in the walls, we were able to just roll right into the Tadillac. And seeing Yassin and Mustapha doing the mixing in the lime pit in the back with the powder pigments was a sight to see. It was so beautiful. But Sam, compared to our methods, how did it feel spreading the first few trowelfuls of actual Tadillac blend on the wall? What was it? What was the suction like?
Honestly, it was mind-blowing. Yeah, like you say, the mix, watching Yassin mix was a really powerful moment for me when I realized I have no idea about this Tadillac. Like I felt like a total amateur in that moment because it was so loose. And it dawned on me that it's so loose because this is human-made Tadillac, not machine Tadillac. And it has to be easy on the body. You can't have a thick mix if you're going to mix by hand. So it made sense in that way. And then you realize all of this makes sense but I just don't know what that sense is because I've never done this before. And so watching them carrying these buckets of things that we're all over there like, oh, this has got to be too loose. And then you just get out of your own bubble and you realize, wait, all the tools we brought, they're not going to use because this isn't the context in which you would use it. And then we started literally just grabbing it with our hands and spreading it on the earth pillars and walls with our own hands or with plastic floats and margin trowels, tools that, we don't customarily use back home. And then you're like, poof, I get it. I get why we're doing this. I get why it's loose. And then you start just watching, and that's where we became the student to them of like, this is a whole different way. And it's a whole different way because it has to be a different way. And that was really powerful. Like that rocked me pretty good. And then from there it was fun. We were in it. We were watching, learning, and then we could just go and spreading Tadalact with your bare hands after you just did earth with your bare. It's like so beautiful. It was like there's so many heart-wrenching moments in this whole experience, but it was so amazing.
Yeah, I tried like so hard for the first day to be like, no, these are my rules. I'm going to tell this plaster what to do when I want to do it. And it's just like the plaster was like, absolutely not. I mean, I think I maybe got like 6 square inches to behave the way that I wanted it to work. And like that 6 square inches took me like an hour. And then I like looked over to the left to Gabe and he was just like full float state, like Zen in that little cove. And I'm like, okay, I don't think this is going to work anymore. And then I started to like really pay attention and really see exactly how they were doing it with, the coats and the floats and the raising of the cream. Like, okay, the material is in charge. Manu, how does your Tadalact application in India behave compared to this traditional and very authentic method?
So I think because we work with the slaked lime putty and we do use mechanical mixers. So our mixers are not this runny, but it's also not very stiff. So it can be applied with wooden floats. It can be applied with a steel trowel. But it's the easiest with a wooden float, like what we saw Yassin and Mustapha doing sometimes, like where they will just take some of the material on the float and use that to spread it onto the wall and follow it up with a couple of floating moves. So our mixes would be like, I would say 10% less water than this, but yeah, we are still able to use mostly hawk and trowel method can be used easier. This was quite runny and yeah, understandably so.
Yassin and Mustapha, how did it feel from your perspective seeing us struggle and trying to break the rules that have been around for thousands of years that were created by your ancestors?
أنا لا شهادة دافع عام 98 ربما 27 سنة والله لك ديال الخدمة. المهم هما كانوا في الأول شوية ما كانوش داك، ولكن أنا شفت واحد فيهم تقريبا راه دا الخبرة. المرة الأخرى راه غادي يرجع معلم. المهم واحد ولا هما 3 ولكن واحد بزاف كيخدم زعما هو خصو تيشوف خدام خصو يجي حدا كيخدم ولا باس. باتريك
Mustapha Yassin, the first time he met you guys, he taught you like he said like he will let you to do it, but in the way you want and do your rules. But then he said no, like we have to do it like in local way, because he understood that you wanted to learn local way and local methods. And he said like some of you work well and hard, and like some people he said some people they were very good learners and they picked up quickly and they started to work on Tadlakt as Moroccans.
So we've got some jobs here.
Yes, stay with us. Welcome.
Yeah. Padraig, how many passes did it take for you to think that you kind of grasped the understanding?
It's several at least. It was hard to know when to agitate and when to smooth it out, and the rate at which you're going. Like if there's too much moisture or if it's too dry, it's a whole nother ball game. But I think finally towards the end of it, I had a little test from Yessin, and I think I passed the test. So I might have figured something out. So.
I'd also like to note that Yassin's English, I've seen it really advance over these past couple of weeks. It's quite good. Would you let him know that?
Thank you.
Oh, he understands. We were joking. We were like, what if all of a sudden, like Gabe and I were joking, just out of nowhere, Yessin just started speaking fluent English. Like he's understood the whole time. It's been amazing. It really has been amazing. Which step, Big P, was your favorite?
The stoning is the best part when it's setting up and you run over the whole thing with a stone at least 2 or 3 times. For us, we always compress and finish with a steel trowel, so the stone was really interesting to try.
Yassin, which step is your favorite?
نقترح المهم كنا مجموعين أنا السواري كانوا خالعيني في الأول ولكن عيد جمعنا عليهم زعما أنا كنت ناوي تقريبا ما غاديش يكملوا على بعد 4 أيام كان ضربناهم في يومين ما راه دازوا في ساعة.
وشنو هي بالضبط اللحظة اللي عجبتك في الخدمة ديالهم؟ واش الحجرة ولا اللي كيديروا؟
ما الحجرة حتى ورينا معنا كيفاش يديروا بحال مانو ويل.
In general, he's seeing all like steps that were great and he loved everything, but he said like helping each other and teamwork, and people came to him asking him about stone. That's his favorite part, like stone work on Tadlakt.
Do they ever wax the Tadlakt once it's cured?
كاين تيدير السراج بحال البلاصه اللي تكون فيها الباع بحال الكلشات بحال داك باش ما ترجعش خضره الا طالع عليها الماء ما ترجعش خضره تنزل الماء بحال الا خويتيها الزيت ما كيلصقش فيها.
No, they don't do wax, but they polish it sometime, but not wax.
But do they polish it with soap?
السراج على موزيك اللي تيديروا بالليمون
على حسب الماء.
على حسب الماء.
تديرو غير بالشيفون وكتبقى تحكويه حتى الماء حتى تولي تتبري هي على حسب البريو.
داك السراج ديال الصباط.
لا ماشي ديال الصباط ديال الموزيك.
ديال الموزيك. It's a special like polishing that they buy and they use it. Same one they use for the floors.
Like a machine polisher.
Yeah. It's a machine.
Little guy.
Machine. Yes.
تاع الميديتي ديك الميديتي ما تدخلش ما تيشربش داك الماء.
And
تاع النقطة ما تدخلش.
And they use it like for buildings or places where there is humidity.
Excellent. So they'll polish the soap in buildings where there's
For all buildings, just for a few buildings, like mainly those who are in humidity places.
Got it. A lot of moisture in the air. Yeah, got it. Let's take a break. And then when we get back, what I want to do is I want to talk about kind of some of the breakthroughs that occurred. Sam was talking about some of them. And I mean, there's so many to discuss, and we'll just kind of pick a few and kind of polish those up a little bit so that people can fully understand exactly what went down on finish coat world.
Ah, the secrets of plaster. So many recipes, techniques, and applications, its diverse definitions and coveted concoctions have confused many a modern applicator. And thanks to the possessive powers of the internet, there's even more information that mystifies the waters of comprehension. Enchanted by Google Images, hungry homeowners, architects, applicators, and designers search the tangled web, patching together some sense of structure to create textured walls, polish elements, abstract art, and relief pieces. What if the journey to success wasn't so challenging? What if all the inspiring information was integrated onto one canvas? Your wait is over. We are collecting years of practice, technique, and art into one hub, the Plaster Portal. With our streamlined system and contemporary interface, the portal protects these processes and offers applicators around the planet the opportunity of discovery, directly from the masters who preserve them. And we'd like you to be part of this communal movement. So become a member today. With affordable fee of just $75, you'll become a baseline member, which provides purchasing access to New Age artisan plaster blends, as well as hand-picked content full of tips, tricks, and time-saving strategies that you can't get anywhere else. You also acquire access to our Prominent Artist Series courses, celebrating both specialty plaster finishes and industry professionals from around the world who are proud to share their time-tested practices. With the strength of our membership, we can encourage the celebration of these trades, discover new and valuable skills, and conserve the arts. Head to newageartisans.com and click the Plaster Portal link. Sign up is fast and easy. We can't wait to have you as part of our community. Before we get back to the show, here's a guest from Season 1 with a quick hello.
Hey, Plaster people, this is Dan Armstrong coming in from Bozeman, Montana. You are listening to The Aggregate with my good pal, Mr. Jeremy Mistretta.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody. Dan Armstrong, buddy. Thank you so much for all your beautiful photos that you've been taking. It's really, really awesome. I was on a walk the other day with Carl, and we were just talking about, photography and lifestyle things, and we were just discussing, the occupation of photography. We both mentioned how much we appreciated your approach in, especially for me, the architectural world. I mean, it's just so cool to see how you are able to take photos. And we've got a couple iPhone photos that I'll show you that you might like. But it's absolutely amazing. So thanks, buddy. Before the break, we were talking about coding the columns with Tadillac and some of the things that we've learned over the past couple weeks from these amazing masters. One thing that we should probably talk about real quick, Sam, you mentioned one time, more than one time, everybody mentioned it. How tired were you at the end of the day?
I was very tired. Yeah, this is Tadillac, no matter what process I've done, always really takes you to your limit. And this was equally, but a new limit because it's new muscles, new ways. Also, you're learning. The job site was also a lot of stimulation. We have language barriers. All these things made it physically and just in a lot of ways, quite exhausting. And it was amazing watching Yassin and Mustapha's endurance of just being able to keep going and stoning. And Mustapha, they're both machines at this, and we're all still working on our hand strengths and these new stone ways. And I was there right next to Mustapha stoning for the first time, and he's just cranking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've only gone a few feet on this wall, and it is absolutely exhausting, and we have another 20 to go. So it was super humbling because it's just new body, new ways. Just, it was a lot.
Padraig, you're pretty young and spry. I've seen you tired a couple times, but most of the time you're not. You're ready to just roll. How did it feel for you?
I got pretty exhausted in the middle there. After we got all the base coats on and started doing Tadillac, I was pretty tired. But I think once I got the swing of the Tadillac, I had a burst of energy to finish it. So it was good.
Yassin and Mustapha, what keeps you wanting to come back and do more Tadillac every day?
حب المهنة حب ديال المهنة هو اللي خلانا نديرو كل نهار نديرو داكشي واخا تنعاودو داكشي زعما هي تجي تشوف تلقاها محدودة في شي بعض الحالات تلقاها محدودة تنجيو تنعاودو غير الحب المهنة.
Yassin is saying it's love for the job, and he says because when you love something you do, you just want to keep doing it every day. And he says, I love what I'm doing, and like if I don't like this kind of work, I won't do it.
المهم هذيك يا اخي منهمناش عايشين منهمناش درنا الوليدات. المهم وحنا راه عجبونا. المهم تنجيو تنضلو تنضحكو وداكشي زدنا كاع
محاربين.
زدنا زعما واخا كاع المهنة ديالنا زدنا حبيناها بزاف مع الكيب. المهم كلشي ناشط.
Mustapha is saying Tadillac in general and working in Tadillac in general, it's his life and it's his income, and Tadillac helped him to raise his kids and build his house and live good life. And also he's saying working with you guys in last 2 weeks was like fun and very happy moments for him. And he said there are a lot of laughs and there are a lot of fun things happening every day. I love learning. So he said he loved to wake up in the morning, go back and work with you.
Yeah, I noticed you guys were up early every morning, ready to roll, which was super, super fun to watch. Manu, put you on the spot here for a moment. What beautiful things came from this trip, and what do you think you will cherish the most?
I think for me, working towards a common goal, coming from various backgrounds, understandings, various probably material challenges, but very synchronously or very smoothly coming, arriving at a decision through constructive discussion was something really amazing for me. And also seeing how everyone's opinion is shaped through their backgrounds, but given this situation what we were in, people were trying to improvise within the spectrum of what they knew they could bring onto the table and throw ideas at each other and say, okay, maybe this is why it will work, or maybe this is the reason it may not work. And I think that's working almost like a tiny community of builders. For me, it was very beautiful. And I do see snippets of how a lot of builder communities work in India. And this was like a complete cinema of it, or a movie of it, seeing all of us coming together. And apart from that, the second or probably equally beautiful thing was the local boys, some of the elders, some of the other tradesmen like the gypsum guys or the stonemasons coming in, joining their hands, sometimes helping us with bringing the material or cleaning up the space, or sometimes even putting their hands doing the tadilacs, sometimes stoning, sometimes using the plastic. I mean, it was just amazing. Everyone trying to go towards that one goal of finishing this mosque together. And I think as we came close to it, it was amazing. There are no words to explain that feeling towards the end. Yesterday I was speechless, and probably I couldn't even work a lot. I was just looking at people and I was just observing, being in the moment.
Sam caught me stoning a column, staring up into the sky. So it was just amazing. My mind just wandering off Don't worry, Mustapha, I was moving the stone. It wasn't in one spot. For Mustapha and Yassin, how have the working relationships been here with our group versus other craftsmen that you normally work with on a quote-unquote traditional job?
المهم احنا الخدمة معاهم نتمناو نعاودو نتلاقاو معاهم فين ما كانت الخدمة يعيطوا لنا زعما إلا بحال رجعوا ولا شي حاجة نمشيو نخدمو معاهم فرحانين بيهم. بالنسبة حنا المعلمين الآخرين حنا المهم حنا اللي كاينين هنا في ورزازات حنا المهم في سكورة حنا اللي معروفين. المهم اللي كيعيط لنا راه كنمشيو كنخدمو عنده كنشدو عنده داكشي بالعطش ما كيداخل فينا ما يقول لك انت دخل انت خرجت انت حنا كنخدمو بالمترو ما كنت نتمناو نعاودو نتلاقاو ان شاء الله هادشي.
Yeah, so Yassin, Mustapha Yassin, it was interesting working with you guys. He said it's not the same as working with other Moroccans. It's like normal working with other Moroccan craftsmen. It's like same language, same culture. But he's seeing it's like there was an exchange. It was like a lot of learning happened, and he said, whenever you guys are back in Morocco working in a project or any that work, he's ready to travel and work with you wherever you are.
Consider it done. Pretty sure I know the answer to this, but what tools of ours that you saw or that you used did you like the most?
أحسن وحدة هي الحجرة.
لا هو هذا سبب
ديالهم كل شيء داكشي اللي عندهم واخا مختلف علينا ولكن كل شيء زوين عندهم داكشي ماشي زعما حتى شي وحده ما زوينه
نقول لهم المهم عجبتني هذيك الملاصه رقيقه ديال الجوب
ملاسه حتى ديك الطويله عجباني انا هذه
والطويله
ديك الطويله زوينه في الشارع
كبيره ديال الطاليان الصغيره نيت هي طياره مزيانه بالنسبه للسلاس
وحتى ديك الصغيره حتى هذيك I like this. The baby.
The baby.
Oh, the trowel for ants? You liked the trowel for ants, didn't you?
I think he liked both the big one and the Japanese one.
Yeah, the little itty bitty one. Yeah. So, you guys liked those Japanese trowels, and we knew you were going to like kind of the 240 millimeter ones, but those smaller ones are quite amazing. And then I saw Mustapha yesterday seem to kind of enjoy that larger one. And I would like to mention that those larger ones were donated from Daryl Morrison in Vancouver, Cadora Plaster. Comé trowels, they originally made those for him, that prototype, and then they started to really work. And Daryl just had a bunch, and he sent them to me to bring them because he said, more and more people need to use these. So, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Daryl. And you can each keep one, by the way, because nothing would make me prouder to know that we did just but a small bit for Moroccan Tadalact history with those Japanese ones. Sam, I noticed yesterday towards the end, you just got into like detail mode. How did that feel? Kind of putting down the landing gear on the job.
It was a nice day. As we, each pillar starts getting down, we need kind of less and less hands applying, and we get into the cleaning. The sun is shining. People are just really chill. It was a really beautiful time of just kind of, finding the period on this project and watching the final touches and realizing what we've done and seeing the space transform. Like the transformation is like incredible.
Yeah.
Like for what we came into versus what we're walking out of. It's amazing. The gypsum crew, incredibly talented.
Over the top talented, those guys. And
just seeing what we've done, and hopefully it's enjoyed. And it was a really special last day of being able to kind of have time to just let it sink in and actually look around and look at people and look at faces and look at the work and all of it. Just, It was a really nice day.
If I may add,
You may.
Sam went around with his box knife and cleaned out the gypsum of each and every spot of that pigment which was there. And I remember just, standing next to him, looking at him, and he explained, this is like a dentist working on it. And he was going in absolute minute detail to remove every last speck of that. And I think you also explained, like, instead of rubbing it with the fiber we had, knife was working better because it was almost like you were able to carve it out because it was slightly moist.
Yeah, the gypsum had absorbed some of the moisture from the Tadillac, and it was still a little wet, and I could just kind of scrape off the outermost layer of because we didn't use any masking tape. There's none of that on this job. So our lines, our quote unquote lines, weren't perfect, but we could be found, and I just didn't have anything else to do. So I was like, with a few other guys, Yessin was also there, and there was a few others going around sanding and starting to create our lines, which just, again, dials it in and brings the beauty even to that next level. So it was fun. I mean, I like doing that kind of work, and if there's nothing else for me to do, I was glad to do that.
Lines were imperfectly perfect.
Imperfectly perfect.
They were imperfectly perfect. No straight lines there, Padraig.
Yep. Probably the only job site ever where not a single line was a straight line or at 90 degrees.
Yeah, and it was embraced. Yeah. Yassin and Mustapha, what have you learned the most? Doesn't have to necessarily be anything about plaster, but just in general over the past couple weeks.
ياسين وسي مصطفى قال لكم شنو تعلمتوا في هاد السيمانات ماشي بالضبط في تادلاكت ولا في الخدمة يعني بصفة عامة شنو تعلمتوا.
He's thinking. You're going to say it in English perfectly?
He's thinking and smiling.
Yeah.
The smile says everything.
The smile says everything. Yeah, let's just say that. That sounds good. And Mustapha's smiling too.
عجبتني في ديك الكلمات الأولى الحجرة داك ولكن المهم الصبر الشيء اللي كاين.
Mustapha said he learned patience.
Yeah. I kept seeing, I was like doing something and somebody would come over. I'm like, no. Mustapha told me that I needed to do it this way. And if he comes over here and he sees me doing it not the way he told me, there's going to be a problem. I cannot have Mustapha being upset with me. Ismail, what does this project mean for the Atlas Cultural Foundation and further efforts like this?
It's a cultural preservation project, and it's you will see the before and after pictures of the mosque, but in between these two pictures, it's a big story. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of things behind the scene. I'm very happy that Atlas Cultural Foundation and New Age Artisans made this project happen. It's a big thing for us at Atlas Cultural Foundation. It's it's a good partnership with the community, and it's a trust for us from the community. And the way we have done it, it's wonderful, very traditional. As we do with all other projects, we try to preserve local architecture, traditional methods, use natural materials. It meant a lot for us. And again, thank you, New Age Artisans, for helping and for your support. And thank you for Atlas Cultural Foundation, wonderful board members. And we spent 2 weeks here, have met locals and local association and the authorities. Everyone seemed very happy, and we received very, very good positive feedbacks about the restoration. And it's like someone told me today, it's a real transformation of the mosque from the inside. And that lacked work, which was there centuries ago, it's back, same color. And again, it's like wonderful. It's unbelievable how the work was done. And it's because of the good work you guys have been doing with the help of Mustapha and Yessin and all of you working together. And as translator and as a safe representative here, I wanted to say it's a life experience for me, and I learned a lot from you guys as well, like, and from Mustapha and from Yassin, and I learned a lot about Padraig. Like a lot, I learned about stoning and the lime and like the patience, as Mustapha said, and this exchange between you and locals and Mustapha and Yassin as Padraig experts, I've learned a lot, and I'm happy to share all this learning and story with ACF people next weeks.
Yeah, you've got some architects coming, right?
Yes.
Yeah, will you tell them I said hi?
For sure, I will. Yeah.
They're coming from Montana State University, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to have them. If you folks are listening, happy to have you come to our shop in Bozeman anytime and for a little meet and greet. We would love it. Mustapha and Yassin, what have been your favorite jokes so far?
شحال اللي داروا فاش مجموعين تيخلطوا ديك التخليطه الاولى اول حاجه بعدا هي ديك التخليطه فاش خلطنا داك التراب اللي قربنا ولا شي فاش جمعوهم هكا وبدا تيشتغل.
I was laughing a lot when you guys were mixing the dirt with your feet dancing.
Yeah, Manu just hopped right in there. There was no not doing it. Yeah. How about you, Mustapha?
كني في البلاصه اللي شرجه دار فيها تقريبا قرماطه هذيك القرماطه باش شرجه هو داك شويه شرج بين
I think it's my favorite joke as well. Is you were talking earlier about the drying pillars. The idea of covering the pillar with dry dirt started it. It was a good idea. Then we needed a track of dirt.
Yeah, I was like, this is going to work. This is going to work. So there was this pier, for everyone listening, that was so wet. And I thought, how can we get this moisture out? And it was kind of a couple rainy days. And I thought, well, there's got to be a way. There has to be a way. Come on, we can do this. We can do anything. And then I had it in my head. I'm like, perfect. We'll use dirt to pull the moisture out. But then I thought, well, how am I going to get the dirt to stick? So I basically we took a bunch of timbers and we stacked them all around the column. And then we covered that with plastic and nails. And then we wrapped it with twine. And it seemed like a really good idea until like the 1 millionth shovel full went in.
200 wheelbarrows.
Oh my God, I was so tired. But then people are like, that's going to be a lot of work. I'm like, I know it's going to be a lot of work, but I don't care. This is my project. I'm going to do it. So what was great was that I rolled in the next morning and sure enough, kind of pulled some of the dirt back and you looked right up against the column and it was about like an inch of moisture all around that dry dirt. So it was definitely working. Did it save the day? No. Did I feel accomplished? Yes. Did I feel smart? Kind of. But I don't know. It's just like necessity is the mother of invention. Like there's always a way to do something. Like that's really what I've kind of learned. How about you, Manu? What's been your favorite part or maybe the best joke for you so far?
I mean, there have been many, including the one which involves my name. Singing out loud by the kids.
I don't even know how that started. I have no idea.
Hey, you started it, so you should know. Yodeling my name.
Well, we happened to make a little visit and hang out with some of the youngsters here in town, and I got them all to say, Manu. And then we were just driving over to our undisclosed location, and we were in a vehicle rolling through the town, and they saw who was in the van, and it was like we had a celebrity in the van because they're all Manu from the side. I mean, you can't buy that. You just can't.
Definitely one of my favorites. But yeah, when it comes to what we did together at this old mosque, I think one of my favorite things, not as an activity, but the language barrier created a language of its own. I think it was the language of making. We could observe more with our other senses than the language, or the spoken language, right? I mean, most of the times, if Ismail is not there, the only way I could learn something from Yassin or Mustapha was by seeing what they're doing, or sometimes by showing it to them that, okay, is this all right? And sometimes them saying a thumbs up, or sometimes they just taking away the tool from my hand and showing me what needs to be done. Sometimes showing, like, I remember one precise moment, like when I was, stoning a portion of the wall. He just got slightly annoyed. I feel he got annoyed. I'm not sure. He came, held my hand along with the stone, and put immense amount of pressure onto the wall and started rubbing. And I'm like, whoa, this is the amount of pressure it needs. And I was blown away by that. So yeah, I mean, there were moments. I would not say I have a favorite. I would say there were multiple moments, and some of these were amazing.
Big P, any jokes stand out to you?
There are so many. I can't choose one. I don't know.
Classic Big P. They'll come out later. How about you, Sam?
Oh man, I mean, with you, Jer, it's kind of constant jokes, and all the guys kind of feed into it, and it was fun just being around, just laughing so much. It was so nice with a bunch of guys. We just laughed almost all day. It was really nice.
Yeah, I love when like one joke turns into another joke, and then the two jokes form together to like have this kind of synergistic effect. And then like what I also really like about jokes too is like the workshopping, like the creative effort that goes into the jokes that just forms a whole new joke all in itself. So Carl maybe didn't like the jokes as much with doing like, some very minor shots of trying to, get some audio clips. And here I come rolling in with the most low hanging fruit dad joke of all time. But
yeah, I missed one of my other favorites. Sharing a room with Carl.
Oh, nice. Roomies. Yeah. This podcast, to me, I really can't stand when I see constant victory celebrated, especially on social media platforms. And I was joking with, I think it was Lydia Crowder, Drywall Shorty, last year about all of these people that seem to have like swallowed glow sticks and like to stand in front of cameras and just pretend that they are just these shining beacons of light. And I know that there's failure in there. It's all about like hard lessons learned. And that's one thing that people really tell me. They call and they say, or they text or they email and they say, thank you so much for shedding light on some of the darkness that can occur in the world of contracting and plaster. I know a few lessons that I've kind of learned. Does anyone have one on the spot that they're kind of dying to share?
Yeah, I mean, one for me is like how important it is to get out of your own bubble. And I know in the last episode I kind of talked about the casual nature, but as we even went further and further into this Tadalect experience, kind of going off what you just mentioned, we have all these pretty photos of the space and it does look really good. But things you won't see are there's cracking, and not just little, there is like bigger cracks. And we would go to Yassin and Mustapha and be like, hey guys, is this a problem?
Yeah,
like
the designer's not going to like it.
Yeah, it's like, should we be worried? And, they would kind of analyze it, look at it, maybe do a little stoning, little tweaking, and then just be like, we'll come back to it. And I'm not used to Tadalect drying so slow, so we had days on these walls of still moisture in the columns and walls. And by that last day, I looked over and saw Yassin going around to the cracks and getting some cream with his sponge and rubbing it in and stoning it and using a Bondo spreader to kind of fill all them. And one, I loved it because, those are the things that most applicators, we don't show. We don't show the failures and the hard little minutiae that get glossed over in Pinterest and Instagram. But that's where the real struggle of doing this as a profession and career is. And it's also where you get to see like the ultimate mastery and beauty of it. And I would just sit there and take pictures of the cracks. And they were so gorgeous after he had touched them. And they were so beautiful. And you realize it's not a failure. It's, what we call wabi-sabi or whatever. It's like the beauty is maybe in that crack and knowing how to deal with that. And so watching these guys manage our fumbling and lack of experience with this absolute ultimate grace, patience, and like calmness was just awesome to see. And so that's something I'd like to share.
Yeah, I think I was also going to speak about the way we were not anticipating cracks at certain places, and certain places we did, and most of the times it was exactly the opposite. But yeah, I think Sam pretty much summed it up. And yeah, on the last day, the way Yassin started working on the crack, initially it took me a moment to come out of that bubble, because when he started rubbing the stone, it did create new patterns around the crack. And I was like, hey, maybe it's because additional coat of material is going around it. But then as he finished a portion of the crack, it actually started looking beautiful. It had a pattern to itself. It was like this portion has been touched again and it has left a mark of that. And it just started looking beautiful to me the moment I started looking at it from that perspective. It's like a scar which ages beautiful, like whether you accept it or you can fight it all your life.
A souvenir you never lose. It's just like another layer of love.
Unique.
Yeah. Ismail, generally when you get a group of people together that speak different languages, they tend to think differently. And what's interesting about this collaboration for the most part is that every person that came to it was a boss all their own from their own place around the globe. Each person has their own company where they're the ones that are in charge. And I think plaster itself is a language, kind of all of its own. How was it kind of translating basic words and phrases and then seeing them kind of form their own language?
in the world, in translation, as a translator, you have to sometimes to be careful translating the culture, not just language itself. So, because the group here, members of the group, they are from different backgrounds, from different cultures, and the craftsmen, they are from different village, far away from this village of Eagles, and they speak only Arabic. They don't speak Tamazight, which is the spoken language here, and they speak Tamazight as well. So sometimes I have to be like an Arabic speaker with them and make sure they understand my Arabic and understand their Arabic, and then translate to you guys in English. And also I have to be careful, like to translate the right words and to use the right vocabularies for different moments or different tasks. And the world of Tadilak is new for me as well. So I did a research before working with this group, so I got to know some new terms, some new words, the mix of different materials. But honestly speaking, sometimes I stand away from Mustapha and some of you guys, or with Yessin, with some other members, trying to understand each other, and sometimes on purpose. Like I didn't want to interrupt, so to see how they can figure it out. And it happened a lot between Joey and Mustapha. Joey speaks very good French. Mustapha speaks French, but sometimes there's some language barrier. And it's good that Joey sometimes speaks an easy French, so Mustapha could understand him. So it is also because both of you, like your group, participants and from the other side, Mustapha and Yassin, are all from different domain or different work, which is Tadilak, so it's easy to understand each other.
Yeah, it definitely helps, speaking the language of plaster, for sure. We're going to go back to the Casbah. We're going to kind of hang out. Some locals are coming. It's going to be a kind of a fun celebratory night to all get together. Folks are going to fly back to their respective parts of the world. Manu, I think are you going to Kenya?
Kenya and Tanzania.
I'll give you the last word here on this show. Do you think we've accomplished our goals here?
I don't look at it like that. It was not a defined goal. Yes, in some parts, restoring this sanctum was there, but I think it's a start of something. So, have we been successful in creating a good start? In my eyes, yes. Has it? I'm whatever feedback we have gotten today, it feels like the community is also somewhat happy or quite happy with us or with the work which has happened at the site. So I think it's a good start, and we have accomplished at least what we thought we could contribute, and I like to believe it's a starting point.
I lied about the last word because Sam said, kind of putting a period to it. I think those periods are going to continue, and we'll see what happens next. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Link up next week as we bounce from Africa to Scotland for a chat with Tyler Lott Johnston. As an experienced building conservator and traditional building surveyor, Tyler's expertise is robust. She specializes in project management, executive leadership, and isn't afraid to sink her hands in the mud. As the trustee of the Society of Ancient Buildings, Vice President of Build Environment Scotland, and host of the Scottish Traditional Building Festival. She wears many hats, and she's graced us with her presence to chat about a few more, as well as some achievements and missions, and we're thrilled. Until next week, cheers!